Welcome back to Majestic Mondaze. And today we are talking about something that I think social media has completely romanticized. Everybody wants the aesthetic, main character energy. Because listen, I love the aesthetic too. Don't get me wrong. I love the matcha, the Pilates classes, the solo dates, the airport content, the luxury skincare, the candles, the clean apartment, the soft life routines. I eat it up every time, okay? But I also think people have started confusing aesthetics with alignment, and those are not the same thing. Because having main character energy is not just about looking like the main character, it's about making decisions like the main character too. And that part is less glamorous. But the truth is, a lot of people want the outcome of a certain lifestyle without fully committing to the habits, the boundaries, the discipline, and the mindset that lifestyle actually requires. And I really want us to talk about that honestly today because I think some people are unintentionally romanticizing a life they are still actively sabotaging. Let's get into that because you cannot build a different life with the same decisions. At some point, we have to realize that our decisions are shaping our future more than our desires. hmm You can desire peace all day long, but if your habits are chaotic, your life will still feel chaotic. You can desire financial freedom, but if your spending habits are impulsive, your reality will continue reflecting that. And I said that for me a little bit. You can desire healthy relationships, right? But if you avoid communication, boundaries, or accountability, those relationships will continue to struggle. And I think sometimes people underestimate how much their everyday choices matter because the choices themselves feel small. They do. But the small decisions repeated consistently become your lifestyle. And your lifestyle eventually becomes your reality. Okay. So let's talk about the main character energy and how it's self-leadership, okay? So, real main character energy is self leadership. I need y'all to realize that, okay? It's the ability to guide yourself even when you don't feel motivated. And we're not going to feel motivated. Yo, I haven't said that word in a long time. Oh my God. Have you ever? So, if you're from Cali, we used to say moted. Oh, moted. Like, oh, you got told or blah, 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 whatever the case may be. But, anyways, sorry. That was a huge tangent. Anyways, um, going back, that real main character energy is the ability to guide yourself even when you don't feel motivated, okay? It's keeping promises to yourself. It's making choices that align with your future instead of your temporary emotions, okay? And honestly, that's not always sexy in the moment. I'm gonna be honest. Some self leadership looks like going to sleep instead of doom scrolling, and that is something I am working on. Instead of being on the couch watching TV until 12 a.m., I should just go to bed now, right? So, going back to what self leadership can look like, it could look like saving money instead of emotionally spending, which we do a lot, right? Having difficult conversations instead of avoiding them, going on that walk, taking care of your body, being consistent with your goals, even when nobody is clapping for you yet. And social media rarely shows that part because it's quieter. But that quiet consistency is usually what creates the lifestyle people admire later. Okay. There have been moments where I had to check myself and ask, like, am I actually making decisions aligned with the life that I say I want? Because it's easy to romanticize your future life, right? It's easy to envision the apartment, the business growth, the travel, the confidence, the peace, yada, yada, yada. But then reality asks, okay, so how are you moving today? And I've had to become more honest with myself about things like financial discipline, emotional spending, procrastination, overcommitting, protecting my energy, being intentional with my routines. Because I realized I cannot keep asking for a life that my current habits are not prepared to sustain. And that realization humbled me a lot because I really have a lot of goals that I want to achieve. And I really believe that your future is defined by the present moment and the things that you do today, the actions that you take. But there are little things that get in the way. And so committing to these not so attractive things, like, really going to sleep on time and creating a schedule and being disciplined, it is very humbling. But it also empowers me because it reminds me that I actually have influence over the direction of my life through the decisions that I make. And that's important. That's really important. So one thing I want to work on as well is to stop romanticizing procrastination. I also think people have gotten very comfortable with romanticizing avoidance. And whoo, let me tell you, this one might sting a little bit, okay? Because avoidance can feel safe. Putting things off can feel comforting temporarily. Scrolling instead of creating, sleeping instead of addressing something, talking about goals instead of taking action. And sometimes people label that as rest when really it's fear. And I'm going to be accountable. I used to think that. I used to be like, "Oh, I'm just taking a break. Oh, I'm just resting." Now, don't get me wrong, right? Like, rest is real. Rest is definitely necessary. But avoidance and rest are not always the same thing. And there's a thin line. There really is a thin line. So, sometimes avoidance is anxiety wearing comfortable clothes, essentially, right? And I had to learn how to tell the difference in my own life. Because if I'm consistently delaying things that matter to me, eventually that delay becomes frustration, and frustration turns into self-doubt, and then self-doubt turns into, it starts to actually affect my confidence, essentially. So take a look at your life and kind of see where you may be avoiding or masking your avoidance as rest. Let's talk about the real power moves, because everybody talks about glow ups, but the real power moves are protecting your credit, going to therapy, networking intentionally, being emotionally mature, learning financial literacy, taking care of your nervous system, leaving relationships that drain you, being disciplined with your routines, learning how to regulate yourself emotionally. Those are power moves too, okay? Actually, those are the kinds of power moves that sustain your life long term. And honestly, stability is freaking attractive. Let me tell you. Self awareness, attractive. Emotional intelligence, attractive. Not just aesthetics. So, who are you becoming this summer? Because summer energy tends to make people focus outwardly, like how they look, who they're dating, where they're going. But I think this summer should also be about who you're becoming internally. What habits are you building? What standards are you creating? What kind of life are you actually preparing yourself to hold? Because manifestation without preparation creates instability. And I really think some people are praying for things they're still emotionally avoiding preparing for. It's a preparation. So ask yourself honestly, what decisions does my future self need me to start making now? Where am I asking for growth while still clinging to habits that keep me stuck? What would happen if I become more intentional instead of more impulsive? I'll ask myself that question too, promise y'all. And last but not least, what version of my life could exist 6 months from now if I truly committed to myself? Confidence comes from following through, okay, and taking action. One thing I've learned is that confidence grows when you trust yourself. And that self trust grows through follow through, okay? Not perfection, not aesthetics, not motivation, but the follow through. So every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your confidence. Every time you avoid yourself, you weaken it a little. And I think a lot of people are chasing confidence externally without realizing confidence is deeply connected to integrity with yourself. Main character energy is not just how you dress, it's how you move, how you lead yourself, how you protect your future. It's how you handle your responsibilities, how you follow through when things stop feeling exciting. And honestly, your dream life is probably built through very ordinary decisions repeated consistently. So romanticize your life. Absolutely. But also become someone who can sustain the life you're romanticizing. Because that's the real glow up. Okay? All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I will connect and talk with y'all next week.